Paradise on Hulu is absolute peak television. This is my favorite TV show that is currently releasing episodes right now. This is going to be my full breakdown and review of Season 2, Episode 5. It was absolutely phenomenal. If you have not watched it yet, this will contain spoilers. But before we get into that, if you like daily film and TV content, be sure to hit that follow button. So this episode gives us a little bit of two different things. It gives us a flashback to right before the world ended, as well as a little bit of modern day. But the big thing is that this episode follows Gary, and if you don't remember who Gary was, he is the postman that was sitting outside of the post office when Xavier came to meet Terry. So we get to see a little bit of what his life was like before the world ending. We kind of find out that he was a loner and that he had this friend named Enos that he met online through gaming. The two of them develop this plot on how they can survive and what they will need, and Gary finds out that his post office where he works actually is a nuclear fallout shelter, so they will be perfectly safe living there. So they grab their own little squad of survivors. Everyone has a specific trait that will help them in the new world. They have a nurse, a contractor, a gardener, and then the big thing is Enos as an engineer. The thing is, he's not actually an engineer, he was lying. The big thing is Gary is on his mail route and he discovers this child that is living in a not so great environment, so he takes the child with them to the bunker. But while on their way, they stop and they run into Terry. So Terry ends up joining this crew anyways, and we find out how they came together and why Terry was living with this random dude. Then over the next couple of years, we see how their lives play out and how they're surviving in the new world. This goes from having Christmases inside of the post office to eventually escalating to being able to go outside and create a farm with chickens and plants and going and trading at shops and all this other stuff. The big part of this episode is that Gary told Xavier that his best friend betrayed him, and his best friend being Enos, and that Enos is the one that took Terry. And then here's where things start to get a little bit interesting, because we know that Gary is hiding something, Xavier knows that Gary is hiding something, and that big thing is that Gary actually fell in love with Terry. He even tried to put a move on her. Terry was not having any of that though. She is absolutely loyal to Xavier, and she was actually packing up and making fuel so that she could drive to Colorado to meet with him at the bunker. Now, while Gary showed his support, I guess you could call it, he actually was not very supportive of this decision whatsoever. And we know that because there was this random train that rolled into town, and these guys are heavily armed. Gary and Enos go and check it out, and they get taken hostage, and we actually find out that these people are a part of Link's crew. They're all traveling west to Colorado to meet up with Link and the rest of the crew, but they needed to stop to refuel, and that is why they are in Atlanta. However, we may think that these people are bad, but they're really good because they say, hey, anybody who is of use, they can come with us. So Enos is like, you know what, Gary, this is great. Terry can just go with them and she doesn't have to make all this fuel. Gary doesn't like that decision from Enos, his best friend. So you know what he does? He shoots him. And this is the part that Xavier does not know. He knows that Gary was hiding something, and Gary revealed that he was in love with Terry, but we don't know the true motive behind Gary's intentions. He says that he's going to help Xavier out by going and helping find Terry. I don't really know what is actually going to happen. We know that Xavier is on a relentless mission to go save Terry, so he goes and tries to trade for a car battery and a detonator to set off an explosive for the people on the train, but he does not know that those people actually wanted to help Terry. Xavier also is not too keen on how the New World process works, so he's going to need some training. Overall, this episode ended very shockingly. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I love seeing the episodes that lead up to the events of the fallout, and I cannot wait to see what happens next week, especially when Xavier is going to find out what actually happened between Gary and Enos. Although next week, I don't think it's going to focus on Xavier whatsoever. I think it's going to go back to the bunker and see how Sinatra is playing out. Overall, loved this episode. I ended up giving it a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for next week. This is an absolutely amazing show, and I feel like it's moving way too quick. I do not want this to come to an end anytime soon. I'm curious to know, what were your thoughts on Season 2, Episode 5 of Paradise?